And coming up on today's show, boy, we've got some exciting things to talk about, especially our good friends over at Stellantis. We want to talk about how their customer service is ranking. Is it too high? Is it too low? You'll have to wait and see.
I know the answer.
Else?
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm not
what else
telling
we got, Keith?
until later in the program. Also on today's show, Toyota has registered a new, what we think could potentially be a replacement for one of their off-road vehicles. Could it be an FJ replacement? Could it be a Land Cruiser replacement?
Right. Could it be that TJ that they teased us a little bit?
Could it be that you might have to stay tuned to find out?
I think that's likely. Yeah. So what else is up here, man? We've got some EV startups just continuously, fudging the numbers a little bit, like beating the weeds a little bit with a stick just to kind of try to drum up some interest, it appears. There's a little truth stretching going on, don't you think there, Keith?
Busted.
Ooh, yeah.
So, yep, details on that. And last but not least, our insider pro tips on how to book RV sites like a champ. Jay, did you know that we had a little bit of experience in booking RV sites?
I'd say you do, and I'm excited to share that with our audience. And I know there's going to be some happy campers out there when we get finished with this segment.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Everybody, welcome into the podcast. A nice on-the-road edition with my good podcasting partner, Keith, over there, and his podcasting partner, Sideshot. Welcome into the show, guys. How's it going?
Hey, everybody. What's up, Jay?
Yeah. Hello. Hola. So you guys are experiencing some wind and sun and sand and water and that sort of stuff.
It's rough out here at the beach. It's in the 80s, middle of March.
And you got a primo spot. I would expect with your preparation that you guys put into finding those perfect spots.
It's funny that you mentioned that because we pulled in the other day and Sideshot said, "Hey, Dad, this isn't the place that I asked you for."
What happened?
Well, we're going to explain that, and we're going to do that in a segment coming up on how to choose a good RV spot that fits your needs or our needs or whatever.
Right. And I think the perspective that we'll get from Sideshot is going to be great because when you're planning these things, you have to take all of those things into consideration. Everybody has their preferences. Everybody has their needs. And so you gotta get together as a group and a family and talk about those things and get those lists together and prep it out. And you know what else I think that it does for people too? It sets you up for success in project planning. Maybe, who knows, down the road you might be a tour guide. You might be someone who starts booking travel for people across the U.S. or and abroad. So we'll see what happens.
If it's his list, let's see. I think I can do this. It's how big is the pool? Can we bring our golf car? What size is the pool? Can I drive the golf car? How big is the pool? Do they have a hot tub? How big is the hot tub? What are the pool hours? That's basically your list, right?
So I think that...
can I drive the golf car to the pool?
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. Now, camping is fun, and you can make it very, it can be very stressful, but you can alleviate some of that. So a little later on in the show, we're going to get into some of that stuff with Keith and SideShot, and with their expertise. They've been on the road for many years doing what they do. They love it. They do it as much as they possibly can. And so I'm excited to have those guys share with all of us today on some of these good tips. So we got some interesting stories today too, though. We are an automotive channel, just in case you've been listening. Automotive and entertainment. We get into a little bit of everything, but we've got a few exciting stories today. I say exciting, just information that's pretty relevant to some things that have been happening, in the automotive industry. And I know I wouldn't say that we tend to pick on specific automakers or manufacturers, but you know what? When you're sticking when you're sticking it out there, man, you gotta expect it. So, Stellantis has really taken a beating. We've released some stories about the poor management of the Jeep commercial, how we thought that may have been kind of touchy with a lot of people with the Bruce Springsteen thing.
It was definitely controversial.
Yeah. So is it poor decision making, or are they trying to be controversial? Then of course they pay off the fine for FCA, where there was some shenanigans going on between them and the UAW. Somebody getting a little richer, and I didn't say Little Richard. Somebody getting a little richer, and now, gosh, I just hope this doesn't speak volumes for the future of what we've got coming down the pike. Touch on this a little bit, Keith.
All right, so I found out about this through carscoops.com, but it's out there in the JD Power ranking, if you want to go straight to their website. Chrysler, Stellantis, what do we call them? Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Alfa Romeo, all under Stellantis's banner. Scored below their segment averages in the JD Power 2021 customer service survey. Now, this is not vehicle quality. This is customer service.
Right, so, which is something that Keith and I harp on all the time about how easy it is to make that experience for your customers a quality one. And
there are people that understand that, because this year, the quality of customer service has been on the rise in some of their competitors. But this is where we find those four brands, again, Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, Ram. Oh, five, sorry. Nobody said I had to have math skills for this program. And the fifth one being Alfa Romeo, all sliding in customer service quality. So,
I'd like to point out one key to this story. So we'll go down some lists and give you where they rank, U.S. manufacturers and foreign imports. But I would be happy too. But the automotive brand with the happiest customers, according to JD Power, was Porsche, which scored an 899 out of a possible 1,000 points. Then not far behind was Lexus with 895, Infiniti, and surprisingly to me, Cadillac scored very well, but you kind of expect that out of a flagship vehicle like that. It's a luxury model. You're paying through the nose for the vehicle and the services that come with it. And I go back and laugh at the Porsche thing that says the automotive brand with the happiest customers were the Porsche customers. Well, let me tell you something. If I can afford a Porsche, I'm pretty darn happy.
Yeah,
I'm just going to say that, So I think that kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, you know what you're getting into when you buy a Porsche or a BMW. That's just their way of really retaining their customers and giving them more than just an automobile to drive.
Well, and there are certain certain conveniences. I'm going to use that word. It might not be the exact right term here, but that a lot of these dealers are now using to improve that customer service. Let me give you an example. Jay, you just went through some service at your mini dealer, and they're
Right.
using My Karma, and they sent you a walk around video from the service bay of your car. I had my Ford truck serviced at the Ford dealer last week, and I noticed they were also using My Karma. Now, interestingly enough, not in the same way. They were using it to send out invoices. And I got a text message telling me that the service work on my truck was done, and here was a copy of the invoice and all that. And I went in and said something to the guy, and I said, "Hey, I noticed you're using this Karma app." And he goes, "Yeah, we, whatever." And I go, "Do your techs ever use the video side?" And he went, "The what?" So they, they didn't even know you could do that. So, Mini definitely has an angle that's, I would say, improving their customer satisfaction in terms of their service quality, right?
Well, I think that's what it's all about, yes. And, it's a telling statistic here in this report that you get from J.D. Powers. And, you had somewhat of a negative feeling about your invoice. You felt that it wasn't broken down properly, and it could have been communicated to you a lot better.
Well, they didn't tell me the work that they did. They basically just sent me a copy
they just said,
of the amount due.
Here's amount due. And it's like, okay, well, what did you do?
Right.
Can we have that discussion? And so that is where a disconnect comes in, and that is why the numbers are truly telling. And so we're going to get to that. So they break this down into premium brands, and then brands like across broader markets and stuff. So you got premium brands. Let's go over that list a little bit, Keith. So number one, like we said here in the premium brand index survey, the ranking has Porsche at number one, followed closely behind by Lexus, Infiniti, and Cadillac. And then you start dropping in levels of customer satisfaction. You got Lincoln that is below Cadillac. Now, again, get up beyond that. That's your higher tier vehicles. They should rank high.
Yep.
That's what you're paying for. It's like I've always said it before. When I go to a restaurant to have a meal, it's about the whole experience. So the plate of food may be delicious, but if the person serving me that food is not taking care of me and just has a terrible attitude, it ruins it for me. Well, this is no different. This is a customer satisfaction situation.
And you have to figure, Jay, that, here's an example of kind of what happened to me. And this happens to all of us, is I got the now you're going to get a survey, and if there's any reason why you can't give us the highest number, which was a 5, call us and it's just a lot of peer pressure on, make sure you just give us 5s, right? And
yeah, they're selling the vote, man, is what they're doing.
It's sort of like, well, why don't you ask me before we have this conversation if I'm happy, or if there's anything that you need to do, or maybe even just when we're, talking about the service, you go, hey, are you good with this? How does this sound to you? I just feel like, the focus is not customer satisfaction. The focus is, are you going to give me a 5, right? I think we've sort of lost our, and so interestingly enough, rounding out the bottom in the luxury list in terms of service, Jaguar, Land Rover, and Alfa Romeo. Now, BMW kind of right in the middle, Acura right in the middle, Mercedes right in the middle, Acura, Mercedes, BMW in that order, and they're all within a point of each other. I would actually sort of expect them to be higher than Lexus and Infiniti, but not the case, right?
Right, absolutely. And again, Alfa Romeo is part of that family, that Stellantis family. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. And Alfa Romeo was the lowest on the list at 797. And again, I think that, and I haven't seen the entire list, but I expect that they would be they're not. who is at the top there, which blows me away, and I kind of expected this. I expected Hyundai to be in a better position. But so you've got other ranking, which is mass market brands. Okay, let's talk about that a little bit.
That's
okay?
just your, basically all your non-luxury cars, like just your, if it's not
and they're sold.
Yeah.
Right. They're sold in Central America. They're sold in South America. They're sold in Europe. They're sold all over the world, so they call it mass market brands. And so they give an overall survey of that. So my Mini is number one. Numero uno, number one at 864. And that's a pretty high score for the mass market brands. The three... No, wait a minute. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is so sad. I mean, I don't get it. And you would think with the amount of vehicles that they sell and some of the durability that they claim they have, and again, this is on service of the vehicle, not necessarily customer service for the vehicle or the vehicle working
customer
in working order. It's
satisfaction
more customer satisfaction.
from service, right?
Right. But Ram is at the very bottom. Chrysler is...
Does that surprise you? Yeah.
Ram, then the Chrysler brand, the Jeep brand.
Well, yeah. So of the last 5, Dodge, Volkswagen,
4.
Jeep, Chrysler, and Ram, 4 of those are Stellantis products.
Now, and let's talk about the one above Dodge.
Okay.
And there's a reason why I bring that up. It's exactly what we were talking about. The numbers tell the truth. Okay, so you had a really, it wasn't a desirable transaction. It was not a desirable, the way it was handled and how you got it was not something that you would have expected. You expected for them to be very, explicit in what they did to your vehicle. It's your vehicle. It's an appendage of you, basically, man. I mean, it's your baby, right?
So Ford is right above Dodge. Now, I will say I've noticed a correlation here. It seems like, and I'm not sure about Mini being at the top, but would you say, as you look at that list, you can see those, right? Yeah. The companies that are doing better on sales numbers seem to be at the bottom in customer satisfaction and customer service satisfaction. It's almost like they don't have to try as hard. Do you see that? Do you agree with that?
That's a valid point, but I question the Kia and the Hyundai. Hyundai is below Kia on that list.
Yeah.
But, Kia's numbers have to be up. I don't know. I have to check those. I haven't seen them. But I think that there is a correlation there. Now, here, what happens, okay? So you sell more vehicles, you got more customers, you got more complaints. That's just kind of the nature of how it works. We get that.
Right.
But this right here is exactly what you and I spoke about on a podcast or two ago about the Mini Cooper experience that I had.
Right.
How well that they treated me. And here is Mini is at the top of the list with how well they satisfy their customers. Now, why do not all of these take advantage of the technology that is available to them to make their lives easy? We spoke about this. We were contacted by the service manager who thanked us for bringing up to their attention how hard they work to satisfy their customers and make sure they get up hard and work every day. They get up, work, and every day and work hard, I should say, and there's a reflection of those things that they do and do appropriately.
So Jay's talking about, for those of you that don't know this, we did a segment. It's out on YouTube, youtube.com/Parts Counter Gurus, and you can check out the video where we show you how Mini Cooper uses the My Karma as part of their whole service experience, and encourage you to go check that out. You can see how it works. It's already out there on our website. And Jay, maybe I'm just thinking out loud here, but as we potentially bring this segment to a close, just wanted to remind everybody here in a few seconds, you're going to get a survey on your screen, and it's going to ask you to hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell. People say ring the bell. Isn't it really more like you click the bell?
Click the bell. One at the very top. All. Click all. The bell is everything on the, like the vibrations and the bell.
Yeah.
All black.
Yeah, but you don't actually ring the bell, right?
You're
You
not
just
gonna
click
ring
the bell.
Click the bell.
Yep, hit the subscribe button. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you like. Always like to see and hear
Yes.
what you folks think. I know we've got a lot of Stellantis fans out there. Hey, don't shoot the messenger here. We're just giving you.
No, and there's some yes, absolutely, man. And there's some exciting things coming down the pike for Stellantis with Jeep
Yep.
and with the recent reveal of the Grand Wagoneer.
Yep.
And the tease with the all electric Jeep that may be coming.
Yep.
The Magneto name, trade name that they filed for. So there's a lot of things. We're just giving you the results of surveys. That are factual. It's factual piece of information for companies. This is a guideline for them to improve upon, and we hope that the ones that are at the bottom of this list do. Stellantis at the bottom, but maybe they've had a lot more focus on other things at the moment.
Yeah.
Or maybe their sales are just so darn high they can't handle it.
Well,
And
good for them.
Again,
Yeah.
they need to take this tool and learn from it, and that's where technology comes in, where you can do these things and share it with your employees and get better at what you do. So, yeah. So good luck to Stellantis and getting that number in the right direction.
So interestingly to me, Toyota right there in the middle, right in the middle.
Yeah.
And I guess I sort of feel like I expected a little bit more out of Toyota, right?
I mean, they're above average, but yeah, I mean, you have, well,
Talking to the microphone.
You've told them about your FJ experience before, haven't you?
Yep.
And
Yeah. So here we're gonna. Jay, do you ever watch reaction videos?
I have seen
You know what they are, right?
I tend to go for the first time they've ever heard Slow Ride by Foghat reaction videos. That's
so
me.
You have a car enthusiast here sitting next to me in Side Shot, and I don't think you know about this. I'm gonna tell you along with our audience, our listeners and watchers here, viewers.
And now I'm one of you.
And yeah, there you go. So Toyota registered a trademark name, and then they're going to call it a Trail Hunter. Okay, now this picture right here, this is just somebody's rendering. We don't know that that's what it's going to look like. Okay, that's just somebody's we think.
Yeah.
So it has the word trail in the name, Trail Hunter. Okay, all one word. And people immediately are thinking, what? What would you think if you hear that?
I would think something, well, speaking of when I was talking about your FJ, I would think about something like the FJ or a Land Cruiser, but something probably with 4-wheel drive that can go out and go through go wherever you want
Yep.
with it.
So, we don't know at this point what the intent is, other than it looks like they are planning a new model, right? And they're going to call it the Trail Hunter. And this was a U.S. trademark filing, so they're going to potentially sell it here in the United States. Now, I love this. Did you see the thing on CarBuzz, Jay, where they said, the word trail doesn't always guarantee that it's going to be off-road?
Yeah,
and the
it
example
doesn't.
that they gave was one that we always talk about, right? Which was...
Blazer.
Yeah, right. The Trailblazer.
Trailblazer, yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a SUV. It's a soccer mom
It's a
ride or something.
And I commented,
And I hope you soccer moms don't get offended by that.
Oh,
But
look, I mean-
that is truly the term that we use for those.
unless you're playing soccer in Canyonlands in the middle of Utah.
I mean, what else? We could call it a station wagon if you'd like. I
Right.
mean, if that makes you feel better. So there you go.
Yeah. So and we were talking on the drive out here before his time, but I explained the Blazer, the Chevy Blazer, and the Ford Bronco used to be rivals. They were comparable model. They were the same class vehicle, and now look at how, no pun intended, they've taken different trails, right? So one's targeted at an off-road crowd, and one's targeted at soccer moms, I guess, right?
Fork in the road here, man. Fork in the road. Yeah.
Right.
So, and it's funny you bring up the whole Ford thing, and that's Ford, Dodge, and GM have always had the rival 4x4s. It's just always been a running thing. Yeah, I'm a Dodge man, or I'm a Ford man, or I'm a GM guy, I'm a Chevrolet, or whatever. Bow tie power, whatever. But Toyota has never really actively gone after that in competition. So it's kind of interesting to see them take a swing at Ford and Jeep if this is going to come to fruition, because again, gosh, I mean, how many times can we say this? We knew where the market was going, when we were at the last SEMA show.
Well,
I mean, everybody is paying attention to the Overland crowd, and they get it and they understand. And they're hearing you loud and clear.
All Toyota has to do is open up, like, Kelley Blue Book or, one of these, like, used car valuation guides and look at their products that are targeted at off-road crowds, like the old FJ, Land Cruisers, some of the Forerunners that are of a current generation that are a little bit more off-road capable, and look at the used resale value of those things. And Toyota's got to be looking at that going,
oh, well,
wow.
that's actually part of this. They were mentioning that it says Toyota knows there's a market for dedicated body-on-frame off-roaders, as is evidenced by the high prices commanded by old FJ Cruisers. Period.
Yep.
They get it. They know. So they're paying attention to that. And I am not surprised that FJs draw that much of attention, because they're kind of rare too, even,
the best favor Toyota ever did for me was to discontinue the FJ the year after. So mine's a 2014. That's the last year that they made them. That's literally the best thing they could have done for me in terms of keeping my value where it is. I mean,
right. Well, if you're going to exit stage left with the Land Cruiser, and we said this a couple podcasts ago, and you don't have anything to replace it with, at least maybe this is some hope that Toyota's going to come back in with something that may help dominate that Overland market. So we'll see how that works out, because I really don't see the 4Runner is nice. And it has some capabilities, but it's not what the Land Cruiser of years past was and what it could be. And that's kind of the thing that, we beat up on Nissan about the same thing, not being innovative and coming out. I mean, my goodness, man, they didn't change the design of the Frontier for 17 years, and now they've got a new design coming out. The Pathfinder's coming out. So there's a lot of changes there. They are paying attention to the Overland crowd, and they are hearing you loud and clear. So I expect that there's going to be some pretty robust platforms out there across the board with every manufacturer that plays and dabbles in that game. So, now Toyota's putting their feet in.
As soon as we find out more, we'll let you, our fans and listeners, will be the first to know. How can people find out if they want to find out more?
Go to partscounterguru.com.
Okay, now what about if being notified if there's new news on any of these Toyota vehicles, or really anything? I said the word news, by the way. What can they do?
Hit the bell.
Live.
Hit the sorry, Pavlovian response. They can hit the bell, click the bell, tap the bell. Yep. Okay, hit the subscribe button. Yep. Okay. Yeah, there you go. You heard it.
Man,
here.
I tell you what. Hey, Side Shot's doing a great job over there. Thank you for being on our show today, too, man. It's good to see you, by the way.
I'll tell you what. I have just solved the problem of keeping him quiet. All I have to do is hit the record button, Jay, and he just pipes right down. I mean, it's literally he's normally not this quiet.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm
getting the stink eye right now.
I've been around him without the record button on. I know.
All right, so I got another one for you here. Have you heard of now? He's a big Jay. You know this, I think. He's a big EV fan.
Yes.
He's of that age now. This is their generation. Did you know? Have you heard of a company called Lordstown Motors?
I think I've heard that, but
you have to talk into the mic.
I think I've heard the company,
yeah,
but I don't know anything about them.
So they're I would consider them a startup. They're an EV manufacturer.
And sort of a homegrown hero of.
Yep,
I think.
they're out of Detroit, right?
Yep.
In the Detroit
Lordstown,
area.
yeah.
Yep. And they're involved in some projects for the RV industry as well as consumer automobiles, like working on some electrification projects for RV, like Camping World, that kind of stuff. Okay. So some news broke recently of them basically fudging the numbers a little bit. What details do you have on that, Jay?
Okay, so first of all, Steve Burns is the CEO.
Are you sure it's not Montgomery Burns?
No. Now, interesting enough, and as I was digging around a little bit, now have you heard of the Workhorse Group and who Workhorse is?
No.
Okay.
No. Neither. You have two no's on this end.
Right. So Workhorse was Steve Burns was the CEO of this, and he stepped away from that and then started Lordstown with a loan from GM. Okay.
Okay.
So Workhorse is they're also an EV company as well.
Okay.
And they, for example, I just give you here's a recent. Back in January, they received a purchase order from Pride Group Enterprises for over 6,300 C-Series all-electric delivery vehicles.
All right.
So again, EVs, I think where they're going to have the biggest impact right off the bat, rather than the actual consumer at the consumer level. Just you and me buying one and driving around. I think that where EVs are going to be successful, and it's kind of promising to see that they are seeing that, is fleets
right.
tend to be where you want to go because there's such a huge saving. It's really desirable if I'm a fleet company from a cost savings, from maintenance, gas, all those sorts of things. You probably get credits from the EPA for buying these things, just like any government entity does by going, say, natural gas vehicles or all-electric vehicles or whatever. As a matter of fact, my wife drives an all-electric for the government entity she works with, and so this is very interesting how this started. So Steve goes from here and goes and starts Lordstown, and what we have found out is that there was a lot of chatter about how well they were doing and how close they were to production. And it turns out that the numbers have been fudged. And of course, this is by Hindenburg reporting this.
Okay, now that's an important point because where have we heard this kind of story before? What manufacturer comes to name comes to mind?
That would be Nikola.
Okay,
now at the center of both of these, I want to throw in a little twist here. Is who? GM.
Right.
GM loaned Steve Burns the money to get this rolling. Then they go in and they, partner up with Nikola, and then the shenanigans surrounding that happen. But prior to these things occurring, their CFO took the door to the right, and she's gone. Okay. Now we question why.
Yeah, we did on this program way before all this news broke, ladies and gentlemen. We pointed to that and said something's not right here. I mean, Jay, it's coming.
I told you so.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here's the thing that you guys have to understand. They say that they have pre-sold 100,000 of these vehicles to various fleets across America. And just so you're wondering, that vehicle is the what was the name of that thing?
It's the light-duty fleet truck. It's called the Endurance.
Endurance, that's it. Yeah, Endurance. And so they're saying that he is saying that these things have been pre-sold. Well, in fact, it turns out that they were not pre-sold. And if anything, there's actually no money transferred. It's a non-binding letter of intent.
Okay, so a couple key points here. Number one, that letter is basically just a piece of paper saying, yes, I'd like to order one of these. There's no money changing hands. It's essentially just that. It's just a written communication saying, yes, I'm interested in buying one.
Yeah, it's a letter of intent. It's basically me walking up to you, or you saying, "Hey, I got this truck for sale, man. Are you interested?" You say, "Yeah, I'm interested in it." Okay,
Well,
cool.
And this
that's
is going to
about
come into play later on in the program in the RV segment, and when I bet you didn't see that coming, but we're going to talk a little bit about that same strategy on the RV side. But here's the other thing that is worth mentioning, that the people, the company, I should say, the organization that's pointing this out is Hindenburg Research. Now, Hindenburg Research is the same company that got in the middle of the Nikola thing and pointed to, they didn't have a working model, and they drew attention to that. Hindenburg does stand to gain something, from my understanding, by pointing out these negatives. Hindenburg has a short selling interest in the stock, meaning, oh boy, let me see if I can explain short selling in layman's terms here. So they borrow stock. Right. Like, let's say that you had 100 shares of Lordstown, Jay, of Lordstown Motors. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you paid $50 a share for it, okay? Hindenburg would borrow your stock from you, okay? Then they would create a short sell environment where they drop the value of that stock. So now let's say it's worth, 35, right?
Right.
Well,
right.
They sold your stock. They then go buy more at $35 a share and give it back to you. So they've turned a profit. See how that works?
Right.
So they definitely have something to gain in the short sell environment by drawing attention to these companies' failures. And it appears they were correct on the Nikola side. So it wasn't, it wasn't like they were making things up to try to make money. At least it would appear to be.
So let me give you just some of the irregularities that were reported. Let's just go down the list, because these are, to some degree, really just like, wow, okay. So, and again, this is based on their research and their report that they put out. Customers were not aware that they had entered any kind of agreement with Lordstown.
Yeah,
they weren't.
Wait, you mean I have an order?
Right, exactly. There's a telling pattern of customers that just happen to be small companies local to the area with no known history for ever operating fleets. So let me touch on that. There are several situations where transactions occurred for intent or sale for fleets to these so-called fleet companies, and turns out they're not fleet companies. They go do their research on them, and there's some sort of like United States Postal Service post office box. That's it. There's no operating business. One of the companies that had given them an order for, I think, around 7,000 units,
right,
had only been in business for about 2 months. There is word that there was a solicitation of orders being paid. They were being paid to go get these orders. So it's kind of interesting. It's inflate it to make it look like we got something going on is what's happening here. There were companies that were placing orders as a favor to Burns when he was CEO of Workhorse, which I brought up. Those trucks were supposed to be delivered in late 2018. Still not. Production promises that are never met and are always changing. The company's hub motors, a core part of the Endurance, being licensed from a small company in Slovenia. Let's see. Despite Burns saying the batteries are being made in-house, they are not. Okay?
Yeah, so again, this sounds a little bit like Nikola, where Trevor Milton came out and argued with the media and said, oh, no, we're absolutely making this product ourselves. And then, truth comes out later and they go, hey, it was purchased at a convenience store down the street, or, whatever. So who do you believe here? I mean, so Burns is coming out saying, hey, man, this report is full of half-truths and lies.
He was. This was just absolutely he did, and
the thing that
he came out.
The thing that interested me, Jay, is instead of addressing these claims head on, he just said, "Well, they're not. They're just half truths and lies." Like, why not? If they are lies, why not come back and say, "Well, no, we have all the sales data on pre-orders, and we'll post a segment of that out here for the world to see, or for investors to see." Or at least substantiate your side of the story somehow, right? instead of just
Yeah.
going, well, they're
So-
lying.
Right. So, by the way, just so Lordstown is in Ohio, and yes, it's in the Rust Belt. They're all very close to Detroit, and I just wanted to bring that up. We had mentioned in Detroit. They're actually not in Detroit, but they're in Ohio. And local news station WKBN out of Youngstown, and I think they're out of Youngstown, somewhere in that area. They were giving a tour of the plant. Who was it? With Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose.
Yeah.
Went on a tour of the plant, and basically Steve Burns was asked, what's your what do you think about these reports? And he basically said, "There's always haters."
Well, so I have the rest of that quote right
haters-
here. He said, "I can't speak to the Hindenburg report, but I can tell you two things. We're at betas in 10 days, meaning the beta program, and we're going to start production of the world's first electric pickup truck. I know I say that a lot, but think about the gravity of the world's first electric pickup truck starting right here," Burns said. Okay, but it's not.
Right. Right.
I mean,
Yeah, and that's funny
the
because
Cybertruck was
I
announced
question
2 years ago. Rivian's about to go into production of the R1T.
They've been working on
The
that thing for
F-150
like
is-
11 years.
Yeah, so that right there makes me not trust this guy. I mean, who are you trying to convince? On what planet is this the
Right.
world's first electric? What am I missing here, guys?
And I
mean-
think what he's saying into production, but he's even kind of contradicting himself, saying that this is a beta version.
If it's a beta, you're not going into production, right?
right.
I mean,
I think Rivian, Ford, and GM, all three will probably hit the market first. In
and
late,
if you want to consider
late
the Hummer
2021.
in the truck category, GM's got.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's the one I'm implying. Yeah. So
I don't
yeah,
see.
it's interesting, man.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
It's a stock game, man. It's exactly what it is. And you see a lot of these GoFundMe startup fundraisers and buying into these things and some are legit. They're genuinely legit, but you've got a lot of this stuff, man, where people have these great ideas, but they've got nothing to back them up, and so this will. I'd like to revisit this thing by the end of the year to let's see where he really is at, because if he truly says he's going to be the first production electric truck, then he would have to be there by probably August or September this year, because that's when the other three are going to come out with one.
Well, let's do that. Let's
Into-
make
into production.
a promise to come back and talk about this again. How can people find out if they want to hear the next update on Lordstown?
Well, you would have to subscribe and click the bell.
Where would they do that?
You could go to partscountergurus.com or search us up on YouTube.
And it's youtube.com/partscountergurus.
Yes.
I believe.
Let me give some social media out real quick for you guys. If you like what you're hearing, you want more content, we need your support, and you can do that easily by going over to facebook.com/partscountergurus, liking our page, and then sharing that with a friend. We post all of our video segments on Facebook as well as Instagram. We are on instagram.com/thepartscountergurus. You can now follow us on Twitter. Thanks for setting that up, Keith. I haven't dug deep into Twitter, but I'm finding it very interesting. I think it's a great move for us. So you can find us over on Twitter, and our handle is at The Counter Show, which is what you are listening to right now.
If you find a bunch of Inigo Montoya accounts, Jay, that's just me boosting our numbers artificially.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, so before we get into our main topic, I kind of brought this up to Keith in preparation that we got some quirky things that we talk about occasionally, like some weird science stuff or conspiracy theory stuff. We dig. We're human just like you guys, man. We find interest in that stuff. So I thought, well, why don't we just do a little quick weird fact segment? How's that sound to you guys? You ready for it?
That's your weird fact music. Do you like it?
I can't hear it, but I'm sure I will in post.
Oh, well, I can't wait to hear what you think about it.
So this is I kind of wondered how I was going to give this to you guys, but I'm just going to give you the fact, okay, and then we'll get into the fact a little bit. So did you know, Keith, that almost 163,000 pints of Guinness are wasted in facial hair each year? Did you know that?
That's kind of gross.
Right. I said the same thing, man, but true. I get it because more and more people are, growing the big beards and stuff, and a lot of guys love
the
their
COVID beards.
slug their beards. But they did an actual research study commissioned by Guinness. They found that an estimated 162,719 pints of Irish Stout go to waste every year via mustaches. The study found that 0.56 milliliters of Guinness get trapped in the average beard or mustache with each sip, and it takes about 10 sips to finish a pint. An estimated 92,370 Guinness consumers every year in the UK have facial hair, assuming they consume on average 180 pints each year, which, by the way, if you're a beer lover, it ain't that hard to do. The total cost of wasted Guinness annually is about $536,000 US. The moral to this story, they say, shave and save.
Oh my God.
So
there you go.
There you go. And I have one more that's going to segue us in to the next topic of discussion, okay? So this is a good one. Now, side shot.
Yes.
Have you been down Route 66?
You have.
Do you know where
I have.
Yep, and that goes through the Southwest.
I mean, you were on screens while I was driving, but yeah, you have.
Yeah, so I figured you had been. So this is an interesting weird fact, and I think I knew about this, but I didn't know it was absolutely 100% true, but it is apparently. But on certain sections of Route 66, there are grooves that have been strategically placed in the road, cut into the road, like rumble strips. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know, that so you know you're going off the road or whatever to slow down. There is a section that plays America the Beautiful. They've got them strategically laid out. New Mexico's Department of Transportation decided to spice up a desolate quarter-mile stretch of Route 66 between Albuquerque and Tierras. Grooves were added in the road that play music when you drive over them, going the speed limit of 45 miles an hour. The grooves work just like the rumble strips, which vibrate your car to if you drift out of your lane. These particular strips are positioned to create different pitches when you drive over them. And if you do, you can clearly hear America the Beautiful play through the vibrations in your car's wheels. Boom.
Well, we go through that area a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
I have actually seen that before. Sometimes in other
there you
countries
go.
where it's like you can just on the road and like one of the lanes or whatever plays.
Oh, they have the little music note. So fascinating stuff, Jay. Thank you for that. Everybody tune in next week to find out more interesting facts about what's on Jay's search engine history.
Yes. Exactly.
There you go. There's your theme.
Nice.
Yeah. I
I
figured
got
out
it,
what was
yeah.
wrong. Yeah.
I
All
love
right,
it. Yeah. So let's
so
get
we-
into the main topic here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. This is exciting.
So Jay twisted my arm on this, but I actually thought it might be helpful. We've got some tips coming up here on how to book RV sites. And I spelled sites wrong on the, anyway, it's SITES, but sorry. So
I think I did that.
if you've been living under a rock, you don't know. But for the rest of you, for those of you that listen to this program, everybody's buying an RV now, and it's getting harder and harder to get a good RV site. So for our listeners, just between us, right? I've got our super secret pro tips on ways to get the sites that you want. There's some good stuff in here, and I've actually got kind of a bonus we'll put it at the end, but it's gonna have a whole other it's gonna be game changing, not just from booking campsites, but for any RV service that you might need. This is kind of a one-stop shop. I'll give you that information coming up here in just a little bit. So should we just get into this, Jay?
Let's dive right in. I think it's appropriate.
Right.
Yes.
So now you know some of the tricks that we use because you've heard the conversations going down the road of, like if, sometimes we wing it. And, you've heard me talk to Mom about what to ask and all that. Yep. So now these are some of my strategies. Everybody kind of has their own preference and way of doing things. These are things that have worked well for me. People, we've talked about this in previous podcasts. When you talk about RV camping, everybody has kind of a different version of that they like. Like some people like, well, I want to camp next to the beach with or a big pool or whatever, and I don't mind that I'm like 5 feet from my neighbor. I'm more of a fan of having some privacy, a little bit of nature in between me and the site next to me. But that's just us, right? Like that's what I value. So these things that we're going to talk about should work for you regardless of what your preference on some of those things are. So the first thing that I will tell you that I love to do, and this is probably what I will do first, is if we're going to pick an area and go to that area, I'll go open Google Maps. Not Google Maps, okay? Which you can get to on a web browser, maps.google.com, or you can, if you have the app on your smartphone, yep.
And then you type in large pools.
Right. Golf car friendly. So that comes later. So I'll use some search terms, and I'm going to give you those. I use RV campground, RV park, and campground. And I usually do them in that order. The problem with putting campground down is that you may get some tent only type places which we can't fit in. Okay. So what you search on, as Jay knows, keywords matter. So I tend to use the RV camp, RV camping, RV park, RV campground. All right?
Right.
Google's going to show me in that area that I'm searching on. Let's say it's, I don't know, Albuquerque, New Mexico, right? Because I want to hear America the Beautiful on the rumble strips. Then I'm going to see little pins dropped on the map, and I will typically click on those. I'll read the reviews. I'll look at how many star ratings. And then we'll go into the amenities that they will typically list. Swimming pools, pet friendly,
Yeah, dog park.
Dog park. It's another good one. Okay. The Google reviews are typically less influenced by the property themselves, meaning, that's somebody that's going to leave an honest opinion without fear of recourse, right? Does that make sense?
Right. The anonymity is pretty high level.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to their
Google,
website,
right.
If you go to the campground's website, you read those are biased reviews. They're just
right.
picking and choosing what they want you to see.
Right.
The other thing that I will typically do while I'm on the Google Maps app. Now, again, Google Maps, you can get to it from a web browser. You can also get to it on your smartphone if you have the Maps app. There's pictures, and I was trying to explain this to my wife the other day. I'm like, okay, tap on the little pin, open up that location, and then Google Maps will show you pictures that people have contributed, meaning, if I have a smartphone and I take a picture in that area and I allow Google to use that, I'll tag it with that location and they'll post it, right? So
Yep.
Look at the user contributed images, meaning these weren't taken by the park. These are honest images taken by people. Just see what it looks like, right? Like if there's a big dumpster fire going on next door, or a meat processing plant, or a salvage yard,
right?
You probably want to stay away from that. But just look at some of the photos on the Google Maps app. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. I tend to do that. Like, it's no different than going and looking at a hotel. You want to see what the rooms look like, and you want to see what the breakfast area looks like. The pool, and do they have laundry facilities? How clean is the area? So yeah, it's definitely a great point and a feature that is available for you to use to look at those sorts of things. So it's a good point there for sure. So
something that Jay and I did together, and this is my next tip, is I'll then pull open in Google Maps the satellite view. So if you're not by default, if you don't have the satellite view set, take a look at the satellite view and see what it looks like, just to the naked, well, not to the naked eye, but, in IRL, in real life, right? Like, is there, on that satellite, how close are those sites together? Is there shade, if that matters to you? Is there, what amenities can you see, from the satellite? Jay was scoping out some sites for me near him about a month ago, and he gave me, we talked about some site numbers, and then I pulled up in the satellite view to try to look at them to see what they look like. So, what kind of foliage is around them? Foliage, sorry.
Foliage.
Yeah.
Foliage if you're cooking on the grill.
Yeah, sorry.
Foliage if you're standing in the bushes. Yes.
That's it. And that's a good help. And I mentioned this earlier, but in a positive way, go to that place. If they have a website, go check it out, right? I usually do that last, and I'll look at the amenities they list. If they don't have contact info on their website, like a phone number or an email contact, or if they don't have a website, those are usually places you want to avoid. Like, I don't know that I would trust a campground that doesn't have a website.
That's right. And, like Keith had said, if you have somebody on the ground, feet on the ground, that live in the area, and it's not too much trouble for them to get out and kind of go scope it out for you and get their opinion on it, or simply just, you can do a video chat while that's happening, and you can get your own assessment of it if that person has the capability of doing that for you. So those are good points. Something I want to bring up is this, so you bring this is all about RV lifestyle. So these are tips that are for you as an RVer that's driving that motorhome, and you want to make sure you've got room to pull in the pull in or pull outs or whatever they have. What do you call those things? Slips?
Yeah, sites. So that's a good point, though. If you're driving a motorhome and you're towing a car tow, a lot of those dinghies, as they call them, you can't back up, and those people like to have pull-throughs. Now, I don't care. I can back up, but if that matters to you, that'll be listed on the site, whether they're pull-throughs or back-ends. That does seem to be a big deal to a lot of people. It's never bothered me. I don't mind backing in.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to bring up is that, let's just say you're a person that's very, very interested in getting into RVing, okay? And you want to check out some sites that you might, once you get your RV, you don't have one yet, that you might want to go see. Some of these places actually offer cabins that you can rent on site. And I say take advantage of it. Instead of staying at a hotel, go stay at the RV park, because then you get the feel of the quality of service that you're going to get out of the management there, and then how well the ship runs, basically. Good point.
That's very true. There's the place that we're at right now has two different kinds. They have cabins, which is just the traditional what you would think, right? Like Jay, like you were probably thinking of. And then they actually have RVs. And the last 2 or 3 places that we've stayed have offered this, where they're just furnished RVs. So they're just there all the time. They clean them out just like a hotel room after the previous guest leaves. So you don't have to pull an RV to the campground. You can just rent one of theirs that's already there on property. A lot of times they're Airstreams.
That is a great alternative, Keith, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, it gives you, because let's face it, let's be honest with our listeners, and I think most people that do RV already, to some degree, realize that it's a chore. There's work involved. Preparation is part of that, but once you get to the site, you've got to unload, you got to back in, you got to unhook, there's so many things, and then you've got Side Shot playing games. Who's got, where's my Wi-Fi? Hey, where's the pool? Yep. Where's the pool? That sort of stuff going on. So, I say take dry runs, man, as much as you possibly can before you dive into these things. But these are some really, really great tips, man. So
speaking of work to be done, I'm going to tease this a little bit. We have a video coming up soon. We're about to do this work this week, so this video will come out later. And if you want to find out about this, the best way to do that, go over on the YouTube side, youtube.com/Parts Counter Gurus. Hit the subscribe button, click the bell. I'm trying to not say ring the bell, but whatever, man. To each their own, right? Leave us a comment.
Yeah.
And you will be notified when this video comes out. We are about to install, this is in 2 parts. You can hold yours up. This is a Wi-Fi range extender, and this one actually goes on the roof. These are made by King. Here, I'll hold it in front of your face. And I'm kidding. So this is a cell signal. Let me see if I can get it in front of the camera here. Booster, made for RVs. Okay, this is the best one out there on the market. And for those fringe areas where you need connectivity, because not all of us that work from home actually work from a home that doesn't have wheels on it, if you catch my drift.
Right.
And so we're gonna install this. We're gonna review it, but we're also gonna take you through the install process. It comes in 2 parts.
Oh, awesome.
This goes on the inside. This is the Wi-Fi router with a range extender, and then there's an external antenna. That was the big box I was just holding up. So stay tuned for that. It's coming soon to a YouTube channel near you.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing about how well that works. And that's an alternative to what's going to be becoming available. And we talked about this a couple podcasts ago with the Elon Musk Starlink.
Yep. Sometimes you got to have options. You got to diversify.
That's right. So, hopefully that Starlink will come to fruition as far as what they say that it's going to be capable of doing. And everybody on the planet can have access to it. So we'll see. If that's the case, man, Elon Musk, I know he's already rich, man, but
hey,
he may
give me internet out in the middle of the Grand
he's,
Canyon. I'll sign up,
dude. I'm buying. Yeah, I'm buying.
So a couple more things as promised here at the end. I'm going to give you my gold mine of my super secret, way of finding these sites. But I have a couple more. So another one. Speaking of our YouTube channel, we have a Garmin GPS. It's made for RVs. It's the Garmin 780, I think. It's an RV 780. We did a review on it. You can find that on our YouTube channel. It is so great in terms of all the RV-centric features that it has. You can find RV-only services like, truck stops or gas stations that are large enough for you to pull into. You can tell it your weight limit and how many axles, and it will route you around low clearance areas or roads that are under your load limit, and route you out of like narrow streets and that sort of stuff. So it's really handy. I love that thing. I wasn't sure I was gonna care for it, but it has become my go-to for trip planning in this RV.
Yeah, and it's such a it's a targeted audience that they manufacture those for.
Yep.
And if you're an avid RVer like Keith and family are, it makes sense to have that, because then you're not digging in the weeds driving around. It is specific to your needs, like you said, with the axles, number of axles and weights, and RV specific pull-ins where that
Yep.
I would assume restaurant. They'll probably even highlight restaurants that have RV parking out back for you, right?
They have. You can find RV. You can find campgrounds. You can find free like Bureau of Land Management, like no hookups or anything, but just like if you wanted to overnight. They have overnighting options, places to eat for sure. It does traffic. I mean, just, go check out the review. We'll take you through it.
That's great.
It's out there on our website.
That's great. That is a very well done video that you did, that you guys shot, and it's very informative. And it's gotten a lot of great responses and views and likes on that. So good job on that. So, and you can purchase that on our website. Go to partscountiguru.com.
Yeah, there's a link to it. Right. Yep.
There's a link to it. Yeah. So check it out. So what else we got, Keith?
All right. So this
let's talk about
if you've been in the if you've been in the RV industry at all, you're going to know about this. Mm-hmm. But just in case some of you don't, these have been around since I was a kid. Go ahead and hold it up. Sideshot's holding it up now. This is the Good Sam book. You can find these at Camping World, pretty much any Camping World. If you're a Good Sam member, they run about $10. It's here.
I wonder if AAA offers those as well, Keith.
I don't know. I know that Camping World has always been the easy place to get them. I mean, the
go-to.
Yeah. Now this one's a couple years old. It's a 2019. You can see, Jay, it's as big as an old Yellow Pages. It's thick, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And so what they do, I'm waiting for Sideshot to whack me on the head with this thing, just for comedic, comedy relief. But
it's a booster seat as well.
Yes, right. So it's organized by state, okay? Like if I open this up, here's Florida. That might be where we are. It may not. You never know. And then, they'll do it by regions in the state. And then it has campground reviews. Here, I'll show you a page here. This is Fort Myers, huh? How about that? Just happen to open to that page.
Imagine that.
And it lists, amenities and ratings and whether they're, Good Sam member, which means you get a little bit of a discount. And, it'll have contact info, phone number. A lot of times we'll use that as we're going down the road. And then, of course, they always show you a map. And they'll put, of the state. And they'll put, here, you got it? And they'll put little bullets or markers where the campsites are. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Yep, and that's very informative for folks if you're looking for monuments, like you said, landmarks.
Yep.
Points of interest and those sorts of things. Because most people who are RVing, that's what they're out there doing. They're discovering. Hey, am I gonna have to stop this RV? Turn it around.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So yeah. It's worth having. If you're a Good Sam member, they're $10. I mean, it's they come out every year.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe that you get that amount of paper for $10.
Right.
With all that print, it's got to cost them a fortune to put that thing out.
And it's in a pinch. If you're out in an area where there's no cell phone service, you go to this. It's just not bad to have.
Right. So you have a secret weapon down there at the bottom. The last thing there.
So here's my ultimate secret weapon. Now
your secret sauce.
Several of the things that we have mentioned previously have access to this feature. So that Garmin GPS has a Plan RV Services little app module on it. You can go to, and we'll put the link to the website in the description in the comments, and then we'll put it on our mentioned on the podcast page. So just go to partscounterguru.com, click on the mentioned on the podcast tab, and we'll put a link to this. But it's Plan RV Services, okay? Now, if it's planrv.com, but here's why this is so cool. Because again, if I'm driving down the road with that Garmin and I tap on Plan RV Services, I can then say, I just want to see campgrounds, or show me truck stops, or hey, I need to find a dump station because we're full, right?
Shitter's full.
Whatever, right? Yeah. So, no, it's fine. So it's great because it's an all-in-one resource. And you can also go to their website and you can go, well, I need new tires for an RV, or I need, service of some sort. I need somebody to do the work.
Right.
And it will help you
That is golden.
Yes. Not just RV spots, not just campsites, but service centers, truck stops. If you need propane, looking for a place that can refill my propane, that's a common one. They have those listed. And so that is, I have found to be just it's an easy first stop, if you will, if I'm looking for something. I've got the website up here. I mean, you can do it by state, right? Or you could put in a zip code, and then literally the drop down: mobile repair service, tire shop, RV park, AAA discounts, Corps of Army Engineers Park, Good Sam Park, KOA Park, National Forest campsites. I mean, it's just on and on, right? Dump stations, rest areas, air conditioning service, parking lots. I mean, come on, man.
Awesome.
I mean, truck wash. You want to wash your rig? There you go.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's just, because a lot of times, why is that handy?
Well,
before you pull in, let's say you're going to be where you're at for 2 weeks.
Right.
You've been out on the road, you got a lot of grime, you want to get some of this stuff off of there and kind of polish it up before you pull in, and then wash it maybe when you leave or something. So that's pretty important.
Right.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. So Plan RV Services, again, we'll put a link to that, but that's a good one if you're looking for a resource to help you find these locations. Now, I'm going to just mention one other thing in closing, and this is kind of another one of my tactics, if you will. And that is, this is going to tie back into the Lordstown segment that we did. When you're booking these sites, check their cancellation policy. So what we will find a lot of times, Jay, is, and this happened in your area, we're planning to come there this summer. I left a couple messages, and some of these offices aren't open now or they're on reduced hours because of the COVID pandemic. And sometimes the ones that call me back first are not our first choice, if that makes sense. So
Yes.
it's kind of like your prom date. The one that you want to go to the dance with, your number one choice, may not be the one that says yes first. So find out the cancellation policy, right? Like Lordstown, right? Like just see if you can get that paper order and how much it costs to cancel.
Right.
If there's not a steep penalty, like a lot of them will let you cancel up until like a week before or 48 hours before, and you get a full refund. Or maybe they'll keep $10. RV sites are hard enough to find nowadays that I will go ahead and register for a couple and then just cancel one of them after I have all the details of the trip worked out.
Right. It makes sense. You got
yeah.
you got plan A, plan B, and you've always got to have those in place. You may even need a plan C. And that's pretty important, I think, to bring up.
And it's your right to know their cancellation policy. If you're going to prepay a reservation, even if you're not, there's no harm in asking them, hey, what's your cancel? Things happen. Things happened in a big way last year where we had reservations to some of these places for summer camping, and then everybody got shut down. Well, the unforeseen can happen. It's not unreasonable to ask what the cancellation policy is. So that's sort of my final tip on booking these things. Sometimes you have to do that, and you maybe can only get one for a couple of days, but at least you can go ahead and book that while you're working on something else, right?
That's it. Awesome stuff, man. And I got to say to my brother-in-law, hey, here's your RV segment, dude.
We might just title it that. Here's your RV segment.
Right. No, he was a bit. He really enjoyed he enjoys any of the RV stuff that we talk about. So I told him we had something coming down the pike. So this is great. Great tips. You can never be too prepared. And again, everything that we've talked about here on this segment, you will find some links on our website to get you through. And Keith and Sideshot both have done a great job of putting this information together for our audience today. And it's just always fun to talk about this
super
stuff,
talkative today. This is the most I've this is the quietest he's been the whole trip, man. We should do more of these.
Yeah,
you should.
that's it.
Yeah.
So hey, I'm going to take us. I'm going to say a few more things again. Okay, so again, you can find any of the stuff on PartsKindofGuru.com. You can watch any of our video segments from this audio podcast over on YouTube.com/PartsKindofGuru. Sideshot, what do they have to do once they're on YouTube?
First of all, click the like button on if you're watching one of the videos. If you're not, when you are, click the like button, click that subscribe button, and click the bell, and click all.
Awesome.
I think
That's
he's done this before.
He has. And if there's anybody that can tell you why we need for you to do that, it's because we enjoy what we're doing. And in order for us to continue doing what we're doing, we have to have you guys' support. And so if you already are subscribed, thank you so much for your subscription. Please tell someone to subscribe. That helps us out. It's free to you, but it's priceless to us, and that means the world to us, and we can keep going. Again, we're over on Facebook.com/PartsKindofGurus. Like us, share, tell a friend. We're over on Instagram.com. That will be /ThePartsKindofGurus. And we're also on Twitter, and our Twitter handle is @TheCounterShow, which is what you're listening to right now. Other than that, if you want to do any shopping, go to PartsKindofGuru.com, and there's an Amazon icon up at the top right-hand corner. Click on that. Takes you over to the Amazon store. But guess what? By doing that, that helps us out if you purchase something. We don't know who you are. We don't know what you're buying. It's completely anonymous, but it helps us out. So please support the show by doing that. Anything else we want to talk about today or add on to that, guys?
Well, and if you made it to the end of the video or the podcast, if you're listening or watching, thank you so much, because this means a lot.
That pretty much sums it up.
I couldn't have said that better.
Okay.
Could have said that better. So do you have any parting words for us?
I'll
Dickie?
leave you with the words of Edward Abbey. Wilderness is not a luxury, but a necessity of the human spirit. So again, thanks everybody
Amen.
for Side Shot and Jay over there. I'm Keith. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, guys.